Ahmed Mehna, Misr University for Science and Technology, Professor of Management and Planning. Welcome, sir, here with us. Good evening. And also Dr. E.H.M. Chairman of the Egyptian American Business Association. Welcome here with us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And I'd like to just, ask first, with the question I was, start with again, as we go, as time passes, how do you, we start with you, Dr. Hashmawi, how do you see the performance of the government, let's say now economically speaking?
I would say it's fair, but fair is not good enough for the time being. Egypt needs to go much faster. I know maybe I'm asking for the impossible from the right now government, because all what they think they're here temporary. I would like Egypt as a country, as people, as government, as ministers, as private associations, to think, to play for keep. This is our country. We are not managing this country temporary for a day, for a month, until they tell us thank you and goodbye, and the next one will change everything this government have done and start from point zero again. Time has come that this government, or the government before, or the people of Egypt, put plan, and this plan is the best plan, suits Egypt, suits our civilized religion, suits our need, suits our culture, suits the need of the Egyptian people. Put back the good tradition that we were popular for. And this is really the package that we should have after two revolutions, or what, it doesn't matter what we call it. We are busying our mind with the government. Is it a coup or it is a revolution? Is the people here? We should forget about all the minuses. Time has come to make a good plan for Egypt, team up together, and do not really try to show off what did they do. We did an excellent job. I see the Prime Minister saying, we have done maximum. I see the Minister of Interior, we can do, we can do. It's beautiful that we can do. I just came from Washington last Tuesday. I told everybody, we were in arbitration, international arbitration. I said I had a dream. So people were laughing, dream will never come true. I said, no, I had a dream, I had a vision, my dream came true. So I had to dream again and think better for Egypt. So as I was telling you before the show with few minutes, we should learn from the world. We should not only focus about what Israel did and punish them and think about conspiracy, what America did not give us.
Transparency is important. This is one thing we should talk also about later.
Exactly. We don't need America to give us, because America needs someone to give them right now. We need to think if China, which it is, China is very successful and leading the world, we should learn from the Chinese experience. We cannot please the whole, cannot please the human rights, the democracy, that maybe, again maybe, we are not ready for it as a 90 million people. Democracy come after small education at least.
Yes.
Democracy come after feeding our people. Democracy come after having mental security, that you can feed your kids, you can teach your kids, not to go home and you don't have enough money to feed them or for dinner or for school next day. We cannot live with 40% of the population living in $2 a day. That's not good enough. So the solution is to open Egypt, to open up to the world. We are not asking, we should stop the old way that it didn't work with us, asking for investor to bring money. Finish. No investor will bring money. But there's a better solution. There's joint venture with the big country. There's talking what our assets, what everyone else doesn't have. Our location, the Middle East, the 300 million Arabs that they can use Egypt, the size of Egypt, the workers of Egypt, the manpower of Egypt that is not used proper, the export that we can have, the cotton that we don't have it anymore. We could have the best cotton in the world back.
We had the best cotton.
I understand. So we could bring what we were successful. We don't need to invent the wheel anymore. We need to see, like it's a family now. The father can do something. Why would he do the job of the mother if the mother is still there? So time has come that we know our agriculture, we have to feed us. Any country does not have food, grow food for their own people, will never have a word. In order to compete with the world, we will not compete with donation from the Arab country, with loans from the world, from the bank, the World Bank. We will not compete with this, but we will compete with our production, our knowledge that we have to work to earn living, to compete with the world, with the latest fashion. Not was what we were doing in Nasser time or Muhammad Ali, which was an excellent time. But now we have to do something to speed and suit with the world.
Well, you've done a better introduction than mine.
Well,
and then,
I learned from you.
Thank you. Now, we'll just go to the details, from that.
Yes, we'll take
this.
each one, whatever you would like to focus with Dr.
Yes,
Ahmed
but the same question with you, and then you can comment, the way you like.
Okay. As I said previously, Egypt needs an aggressive out-of-the-box plan. We need an outward strategy, particularly on investment. What I see government doing at the moment, as I said also before, I don't believe in interim government. We have to look at long-term plans. What is it that we need at the moment? To start really doing a long-term plan, we need to do a comprehensive analysis of our current situation. How is our foreign direct investment inflow doing? How is foreign direct investment stock doing? How is our balance of payment, balance of trade deficits are doing? And start looking at each component separately and deal with it in a comprehensive package, as Dr. E.H.M said. At the moment, the government is relying on two areas, being an interim government, and then secondly looking at short-term plans to provide food. That's not what we need. We need a long-term, aggressive plan.
Yes.
And also changing the culture of aid to a culture of production. At the moment, the government is taking a lot of good initiatives, but what I also see is they are separate, loose initiatives. They are not integrated in a very comprehensive plan. So what we're having at the moment is the Gulf Egyptian Investment Forum. It's excellent. It's changing the culture of receiving a Gulf aid to go into the foreign reserve to a physically greenfield investment into the Egyptian economy. That's a good initiative, but it needs to be an integrated approach in other areas as well to be able to provide us with a comprehensive long-term plan.
Okay, you're talking also about the change of culture. We don't only need a change of culture, economically, like we need in lots of aspects. How do you see that?
Well, I see that we have to go down to the understanding of the Egyptian individual who does not read and write sometimes, or he does not, or he cannot afford to buy a newspaper, or he is not having a computer to find the internet. We should respect this one more than the one who can afford.
Yes.
So the stock market, the currency exchange, the gold price, that's beautiful. But how many people, let's be realistic. Let's really push the right button. How many people in Egypt can follow up this information? 10%, 20%? So really the solution is to go to the poor people, because this is the power of Egypt. This is the magic of Egypt that we are not using yet. We should go to the farmer and tell him, listen, you'd like to be in the parliament. There's nothing wrong with this. You can. But would you like to earn money for your family first and then be politician? Or you don't do your job as a good farmer and you tell me you'd like to be in the parliament politician? Who would you represent? You have to be aware. So they were upset that we did not put in the future the workers and the farmers for 50%. We are not against farmers. Farmers are the one who are feeding us. Workers are the one who are producing for us. They have to understand we have really to go down to their thinking and tell them, listen, you are doing a better job than being a politician. Would you like to be a politician? The politician always has to have extra money to give. He doesn't have to wait for the salary. He doesn't have to wait until the end of the month to earn money from the parliament. He is giving. He's helping his people. So they have to understand the value of job, of production, and the value of being politician after accomplish the first mission, which is doing a good work. We should use with the foreign minister, Secretary of State Nabil Fahmy, our ambassadors abroad to represent us proper. He's not there to be 4 years to earn some salaries and come back to us after 4 years. I want him to deal with the Egyptian abroad, and this is the biggest assets. No one will build Egypt except the Egyptian. So we should really find a new method how to build our new Egypt. How to get those Egyptians who convince the foreigners that they are living with that this is their country, belong to them, that this is the door to the new Middle East. How can we forgive the mistakes of other countries in order that Egypt is the mother? We call it Dunya. So as Sisi said, Dunya, she has to forgive. She has to forget all the mistakes the other did. And we have to start a new page and go on. We have really to focus into the big plus. We don't have time to revenge. We have no time and power to waste telling the people, you did this to us, you ruined our image, you were not nice to us when we needed. No, you were not there. Let's forgive. And we start speed when we start find out how can we go fast to match, and there's nothing wrong with screaming right now to the world. We need help. We don't know anything, for example, about the solar energy. We know, but not enough. Yeah. We need new electricity. We need to treat the water. We need to clean the water of the Nile. God gave us a great gift. We are not doing this. So I'm not trying to be really crowding the government with. That's why the prime minister is having 20 or 26 ministers. They should do a plan. The minister of irrigation should take care. What did he do for the past 6 or 8 months to clean the river Nile that 90 million people drinking this water? What did he stop? What did stop him from cleaning this, from making, advertisement, using the government media to start with? So time has come really to see the environment that we're living in. It should be a better quality. The Egyptian human being deserve a better air, a clean glass of water, a quality of food, and that's not big issue. This is very simple if we start doing this today. If we have, again, master plan, if we respect the guy who collects the garbage, because without him, Egypt would have been, God forbid, filthy. So we should not look at him as a second or a third class citizen. So the concept of teaching the Egyptian how we should deal with each other, respect each other, how can we cooperate with the outside world, how we cannot compete who's having more money. We should compete who's having better brain, who's having peace of mind, who's having better production, quality of production, who is developing our country. We live in 6%, as we all know. Time has come that in our plan, every year we develop 1%. We should invite countries to come and develop with us, Egypt, for a period of time, win-win situation. The Suez Canal, we've been talking about developing it like Hong Kong for the past maybe 20 years since at that time. What have we done? Zero. Now, there is no problem. We should not really cry on the spilled milk, but time has come to make, again, master plan. Now, can we do this master plan? If we cannot, there's nothing wrong with asking the big world company who build Hong Kong, who build Malaysia, who build a successful country, China Port, Newport Beach in California. We should learn, take the experience of the successful world and join them in order to beat them. So we have to learn from them. We should not only focus in England or France or United States. There's huge country. We should have really communication. That's why I'm saying our ambassadors abroad, they should come and deal with the prime minister, with the ministers. How can we clean again the river Nile, because this is our drinking. Very important for your kids and my grandkids in the future to drink clean glass of water. Very important if we have lack of energy to use our sun 360 days, to use our water from the sea to treat it and grow some vegetables or some plants that we need to make greenery for Egypt. And instead, we are landing in Egypt and we see only desert. When can we see the green Egypt we used to have before in the 50s and 60s? So time has come really to learn with the world how to put Egypt in the right map, right track, right production, right teamwork, right with peace with everybody. We don't have time for wars. We see Obama started to talk to Iran. We see Obama started to shake hand with Cuba president. We see Obama changing his idea about Syria. I'm not saying he's right or wrong, but I'm seeing the change. I'm seeing to change to a better. Forgive. Okay, we were fighting for 20 years, 30 years. Time has come to slow war, because to survive our people is much more important than leaders fighting. So we should not take it personally. We should take it really, what is the benefit of the Egyptian? How can we help him to be on the right track, to be in the top within 5 to 10 years, and what are the steps to reach the top goal that we are seeking for?
Well, in order to realize that, what do we need, in order, I think, also vision and transparency are very important components here. But then, is anything done in that respect?
I would say that to start the new Egypt for the 21st century, we need a change of culture. And by changing culture, I mean political, economic, and social cultures. Cultures basically have a number of factors where we start in schools, families, universities, and the community at large.
Yes.
I'd like to go back to the time of the 50s, where Nasser has given powers to the farmers because they were previously disadvantaged. The Egyptians have really grown depending on government. We're talking about the 21st century, we're talking about what we call in public administration top-down, bottom-up approach, where locals or civil societies have a hand in the decision-making process. So nothing is always going to come from the government. So what we need on the social side is the Egyptians need to understand that the world has changed. They have to have a role in a new Egypt. We cannot keep relying on government. We cannot, for every problem, run to the government to solve. We have to have an active role in changing that, and that will help the government.
Yes.
When we talk about the capitalism, we're talking about the new world economy, local citizens play a major role in that. And for us to reach that stage, I need to change the Egyptian culture. And here is the role of the Ministry of Culture, where we have to educate Egyptians. We have to create some sort of new awareness of the new world economy, the new political system, and what is the role of every Egyptian man or woman in the new Egypt, and how can we participate in making new Egypt. On the political side, we need to change the culture of aid to the culture of production. It's part of how we grow and how we change. At the moment, there is a lot that we need to do. We've got two directions we have to carry out some activities in creating that new culture on the government side and on the community side. And I think that becomes a start where communities will start understanding, if I remove subsidies from the petrol, for example, why is the government doing that? If I'm removing some part of the subsidies on bread or on education, why is the government doing that? And we need to start helping the government. We cannot keep relying on the government and criticizing the government. Yes, they have some faults, but we also have a major role to play in order to assist the government in creating a vision for Egypt. And previously, when we discussed the second crossing, we talked about creating awareness and the role of government in creating that. Because the government cannot work on its own, we need to change the culture of the Egyptians as a society and how they can play an active role in a new Egypt.
Maybe the government wants to work alone, but we'll come back to this, after, we have this report. We'll go for a short break, after which we're coming back. Welcome back again to the daily debate, and we were discussing, the issue, the culture changing, all that. Maybe the government, as we said, maybe the government, well, the previous government, this government, they just, they have their own, let's say aims. I wouldn't say vision, because, vision, we're talking about long-term vision, productive and progressive ones. But we see that, maybe the government, so-called government, wants to work alone. It seems that it's not teaming up with anyone. We have the experts. We have the experts from different countries. I mean, Egyptians, but, who study abroad or studied here. And, they're wonderful ones. And they just keep, presenting their own ideas. But nobody's asking them for these ideas. Nobody's just nobody's taking their own, advantage of, those people. We need to just, exploit the good minds that we have.
If we actually look at the different political systems, starting from the authoritarian, where it runs fully top-down, instructions are coming down to citizens, this is what you have to do, to a very democratic, where it works top-down, bottom-up, I have to have a say as a citizen in what the policy should be in the next 5 to 25 years. But is the government doing that? I don't want to criticize them, but that's all what we need. Just listen to people. I'm sure a lot of people are tired of talking on TV, presenting projects. But where are these projects? Why the Egyptians are leaving Egypt, preferring to die in the Mediterranean, drowning, rather than having a project in Egypt? The government needs to calm down and listen to people, as Dr. E.H.M said. That's step number one. Because advancement really runs on ideas. So listen to people, attract people with high caliber, and from that, things will go smoothly. But the culture of running things always top-down, government knows best, we just have to listen, is gone. We're in a new era where citizens have to have a say in what happens. That's their life. It's their country. And that's what the revolution was all about.
Exactly. And then, you know, we have to have a say, you know, in even the people that we're choosing to run, you know, like, that, you know, like, do you think, you know, like, we have a problem in, you know, we don't know how to select the people who are...
This is what happened when Mubarak was in power for 30 years. He used to choose the prime minister and all the ministers and all the government and all the governors.
Yes.
Now, did we ever ask him, why did you choose this prime minister, or why did you ask him to leave position?
No.
Okay, so we thought, and I said this in public, in the newspaper, on the TV, time has come that the president of Egypt has to tell us why would he hire this prime minister. Now, not only I'm asking him, I'm telling him as one of the 90 million people who knows little bit about the world, that the prime minister, before he come and run this very critical position, he has to give me a plan. When I say give me, give the parliament of Egypt, give the president of Egypt, give the people of Egypt a plan for Egypt. Not for 1 year, not 5 years. Now, why would I hire him if he can enforce this plan to come true? As you know, all the candidates for the president in the last election, Morsi and Al-Shafi and everybody else, they said, I have a 100-day plan. When we give to one of them, it doesn't matter whom, the 100-day in power, nothing. Minus, huge minus. So he has to tell me how would he enforce this benefit plan to the Egyptian. So first, I have to find who's the team who will help him, and how would he help him, and what is the budget he needs for this. I don't need really a government and government and government, and then blame them and waste time and say, we accomplished the mission. I need government to help the citizen. This is how we can call it a successful team, because they both need each other. The government cannot succeed without the Egyptian citizen, nor the Egyptian citizen cannot succeed with having a government giving him the blessing and the direction how to work. Now, I understand that the government cannot do miracles. I'm not asking this government to do, nor the one coming, nor the one before. But I'm asking to change the system, slowly but surely. How would we change it? Again, we learn from the countries. Maybe we need 5 years to be extremely tough and ask the Egyptian, time has come to work, time has come to only produce, time has come to listen. After 5 years, you can come and ask me.
Yes.
But there is no other 5 years. So I'm not asking you after 2019, you know, to come and do something else. I'm asking you to work now, and they will give you, within 5 years, insurance, I will give you better life, I'll give you small apartment. While am I doing this, I'm asking you to change your tradition. Instead of getting married in 4-bedroom apartment, you should get married in a studio or 1-bedroom max. Instead of sending your kids to English school and pay huge money, or public school and pay private schools, time has come to have small, better education. Not to fool ourselves. But the one who will give private lessons, he will be punished. How would he be punished? He will not work. He will be suspended from work for 1 year. Neither or. So we need really the people to help themselves. We have to convince them with what's going on. So we need really to tell them, if you dump your garbage on the Nile, your kids will get polluted. Your kids will have diseases. So
there are some ads about that, but
I
do
know,
they understand
more.
it? Does it get to them? You know, like who's going to usher that?
To a certain extent.
I do think that people know. And I think here is the issue of changing culture. And also when it comes to appointing officials, again, it's change of culture. How do we select officials?
Yes.
If it comes to people, you know, in parliament elections, people go around and promote it themselves, but that's not what's required. What is required is to have a plan for your region. And that's exactly the same concept for government officials. You are, as a candidate, to be a minister of economics, for example. What is your plan? What are you going to do in the next 4 or 5 years? So what we're saying, again, is a change of a political culture. How officials should be appointed. Are they appointed because they are a professor in a university or a head of an association? Or is he being selected because he has a plan? And you've got a lot of people in Egypt, thousands, if not less, in Egypt, that have plans for the next 50 years. And these are the people that should be government officials. So why not advertise for the position? A minister of economics, for example. We need a minister of economics and attract people, and people will come with plans. and based on that select, like any other job. Why not?
Who's going to evaluate that? You know, like now we have the ones who evaluate that still, you know. We still have corruption. We still have, you know, that very deep, you know. So it's like we do have nepotism. We do have, you know, like
plan, and how can he enforce it, and what is the time limit? And don't tell me come and watch after 5 years, like what I was saying. No, within 5 years I will do this, but first year I will do that. First 6 months I will do this. The 18 months, this is accomplishment. So if he wouldn't accomplish his mission, his plan that we accepted, we the people of Egypt, the parliament of Egypt, accepted this and see that his vision and his enforcement of vision within 6 months did not been accomplished. Thank you, Mr. Ex-Minister, goodbye. And let's put the plan, someone else can enforce it, not a new plan. Because according to us, according to our, this is a plan that Egypt needs. So we go and make people understand your plan. You cannot really everyday job, even if you do a wrong plan once and you accomplish it, that's accomplishment by itself. So you can change the plan, you learn from your mistakes. But we cannot change it while it's still, you know, in the beginning. Every time there's a minister has changed, prime minister has changed, governor has changed. We cannot keep changing this. We have really to understand the most important, the precious thing that we have, the human being, the Egyptian human being. This is the one who needs to be small education. He needs a small education. He needs small production, slowly but surely. Instead of working 17 minutes a day, I want him to work 5 hours a day, not 10, not 8.
What about training? We do have, you know, a lot of untrained human resources.
We should find really what do we need and bring the best knowledge to teach them. And instead of giving him a fish, teach him how to catch a fish. I sat with the Minister of Tourism. He said the hotels are empty. I said, let's invite the largest 100 fishing company in the world to come and teach people how to fish. We have all sources of water, for example. The Mediterranean, the Red Sea, the River Nile, the lakes in Aswan. So time has come that we need, and we import fish. So time has come, for example, to invite the big fishing company. Now, why would they come? Do we have money to pay them? No. So the rest of the story, as a non-profit organization, we advise him, we will give them maybe percentage of the production. So instead of importing fish, and we catch from our water, you know, tons of fish, we sell some, we give them some money for teaching us, because they will not teach us forever, for 2 or 3 years, and then people will learn and they will improve this. So importing furniture, we can go to Dumyat, we can go to people who produce the know-how of the Egyptian.
We had all that. You know, why is that? Is it, you know, like
marketing, the ambassador abroad, the ambassador in Europe. And again, that's his job. His job is not to sit representing only the foreign ministry and say, I'm the ambassador, and sit in the back of the car with the flag, you know, in his car. No, his effort and his job is to present Egypt, to present the products of Egypt, the Egyptian abroad. So if you have a good production of furniture, he should do this. If we have good vegetables, which we don't have enough for Egypt, unfortunately, but if we have enough to export, we have the quality of the mango that is not anywhere in the world. We have the quality of vegetables that we go to the Arab countries, which they don't have. Why? Because we have good land, used to. Now they're using it for construction, unfortunately, again. We have sweet water from the River Nile. So all of this, we have the good farmer, we have the quality. So we have to find the quality that we can compete with the world. We don't have to compete with technology if we don't have it. But we should compete with what we know, what we already accomplished before, that what the whole world is talking. The most expensive shirt in UK is Egyptian cotton. So we should focus in what we have, which is a big asset. Why the pound, the Egyptian pound, was stronger than the gold pound in Muhammad Ali time? Because we had the cotton. But we had the Egyptian Jewish community in Egypt, which was 1%, marketing the Egyptian cotton to the Jewish abroad. So Egypt, at the end, were making money. I don't care what religion using my cotton. Again, people don't know the difference in Egypt between Jewish and Israeli. We have lots of Egyptian Jews who are doing a great job for Egypt. I'm not talking about Israel. I'm talking about the religion, which we really should put aside from politics. So there's Egyptian citizen who is very good, Muslim or Coptic or non-believer. I will not ask him what does he believe. I want him to produce. Because in Arabic we say Din al-Ibadah. Religion is, you know, how to really work good and how to produce good and how to treat your neighbor good. So time has come really, those little information that we were born and we learn from our parents and grandparents, to enforce it. And that's simple. We tell him, you You know it, you say it, but you don't do it.
Yes.
So please try to do it. That's what we should tell the Egyptian while they are growing from school, where they're growing from university. Time has come to face you in the mirror. Did you do enough production to eat, to feed your family? Do you need a better family, or you need to ask for money, to be depressed all the time, to wait until you are 45 to get married? That's not fair. So time to face the facts, find permanent solution for it, open new visions, open new opportunity for people to get jobs. Again, jobs will not come with foreigners coming with bag full of money. It will never happen. We should not wait for it. This seminar we had last week, that we thought that the Arabs will bring money. Yes, Arab will bring money. When? When they see that they will make more money.
Definitely.
So they are not coming to give us
business.
money. So we should really have the vision. We should have a plan of how many projects do we have. 60, 100 projects for the time being, and we should put it to the whole world, not only the people who come. We should send it to the people abroad. There's opportunity of investment. There is workers in Egypt, very reasonable, very professional, if you train them well. So we have to explain what is our capability. We can export it to you. You can be tax exempt for a certain... So we have to put all the privilege to really magnetic those people to come to Egypt and invest here. Again, not money, the power, the joint venture, the re-export, the learning, give us the know-how. Then we can really see a better Egypt in the very near future.
Going back to what we need for the first 21st century,
Yes.
I've always thought that Egypt will never change from the bottom. It has to change from the top. As you mentioned earlier, there's a nepotism, there's corruption. We need to reform institutions, starting from the Prime Minister down. I would put a number of steps, and amazingly, all these steps have been highlighted and discussed in details in the plan of the second crossing, and it's on Dr. Biblawi's desk. Has he read it? I doubt it. Starting from selecting the properly educated, qualified officials that have plans for Egypt. What are you going to do? And the plan that I put for the human resource reform or the administrative system reform in Egypt, that even governors of provinces will be elected, not appointed. And they will be elected based on a program. So 5 or 6 people go for elections. In Cairo province, for example, they have to go with 5 plans. And based on that, people will evaluate each plan and start selecting people based on that. And there is a strong condition to that, that the plan has to be a long term, as Dr. E.H.M said. I can't plan based on a person. And that's one of the problems that helped in the collapse of our economy, because all our authorities, our economy, and even our political system is always linked to persons. If we don't have Muhammad Ali, nothing works. If we don't have Sadat, nothing works. We need to work on institutions. And for us to work on institutions, I have to select the right people to build institutions. And at the moment, I do believe that people are running the government at the moment are the generation of nepotism and corruption. Because if you look at the nepotism and corruption during the 30 years of Mubarak, those are the people that are now in power. And they're not going to help moving the country forward, because we've got a lot of loopholes in our laws. As Dr. E.H.M said earlier, the issue of giving a tax exemption to investors, that law was in force. But the problem is, they come after 10 years and shut down the company. So they were tax exempted for 10 years. At the end of the 10th year, they shut down the company, start with a new name. So at the moment, all our laws have loopholes. We've got laws that go back to 1950s. That's going to have to change. And we cannot change laws if we don't have the right people in power. So all I'm saying is put the right people in power. Start with transparency. Tell me what I need to know. Tell me we've got an economic problem. I'm not going to criticize you because you're telling me the truth. And as I said earlier, Egypt's going to have to change from the top, not from the bottom. I can't really rely on population, because people
the fish
follow.
rots from the head.
Exactly.
So it just goes down there.
Exactly. A lot of people were saying, you know what, the Egyptians are bad. That's why God has put or appointed bad people on them. No, I do believe that it's exactly as you said. I have to start from the top. If people are good, on the government level, on a political system, people will follow, or the citizens will follow, because they trust. In terms of the investment, now they're talking about the Gulf Egyptian Investment Forum.
Yeah.
Again, there is pros and cons to that. I have to explain to people there is a radical view where that foreign direct investment can be exploitation of the local economy. Are we really having policies in place to protect local industries? Because the subsidiaries that come from international companies can compete with local industries, and it kills it. And that's exactly what is happening when we get Chinese investors coming to Egypt. They kill the local industry. Are we really having a balance between the benefits and cost of foreign direct investment, and do our benefits outweigh our costs? So we need to explain to people that it's not about attracting money. And we had in a previous episode talking about the $12 billion that come from the Gulf.
Yes.
It's not helping because it's going into a foreign reserve. Yes, it provides a breathing space, but is it physically invested in a country? No. So we need to have a long term. And I think if people cannot give what they don't have, and if government officials don't have the knowledge and expertise to tell people what is right and do what is right, they can't do it because they don't have it. And I think the reform come in our mindset as politicians, as rulers of the country. At the moment, Egypt has got 84 political parties. What are they doing? Nothing. So it's a mindset. So I think if we start changing the mindset of the Egyptians, Egypt is going to change. And it's going to change forever. And I don't think it's difficult. It is quite easy, but unfortunately I have to start from the top. Putting the right person in place. All officials in a particular ministry is going to change. I now question that a lot of ministries during Mubarak regime were caught in an act of corruption, selling land, etc. Their counselors and assistants are still there. Was a minister selling land or making profit under the table, and his counselors and assistants and secretaries are still there? Did they not know about it? And I think at some point, large portion of the administrative system in Egypt has to go, because corruption cannot be rectified. I can try to train people. And to end with, there is a whole chapter in the second crossing talking about the reform in the labor force. And I put it in 3 phases. Phase 1 is change the law that governs the labor force in Egypt. It needs to change. It needs to give rights with responsibilities. Number 2, all officials from the sweeper up to the minister will be trained on a new laws, will be trained on a new culture, and give them a range between 6 to 12 months to change. And if you're not going to change, I'm going to re-advertise all jobs. And that's one of the policies or the approaches that Mandela did, because I was living for a few years in South Africa when Mandela was in power. Mandela did not persecute anyone. He forgave everyone. And he said, we're not going to go into trials because it's going to waste the country's time and money. But what he did, he re-advertised all top
but that
positions.
Does that mean that we just forgive those people who killed and just committed murders?
No. You see, here, what Mandela forgave was the act of corruption, and then he gave some guarantees for people to return the money back. But again, it's a different culture. We cannot do that because it was associated with killing and major issues. But the last thing was, my third step in administrative reform is all top positions will be re-advertised. And if you've got a person who's a general manager, for example, and advertise that position, he will get people from outside the system or outside the ministry, and then I will select the right person. And this way, slowly, the administrative system will change. But before I do that, I have to change the grading system, from 4th grade and 5th grade. That has to change. So it works like a private party.
Yeah, unfortunately, we came to the end of this episode. I would have liked to probe more into that. Dr. Mehna, Mr. University for Science and Technology, Professor of Management and Planning. Thank you very much for being with us. And Dr. E.H.M. al-Ashmawi, Chairman of the Egyptian American Business Association. Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you.
As for our viewers, thank you for being there. We'll see you again next week. I'm Nermin Nazim signing off. As we always end up, God bless our Egypt. Goodbye for now.